Welcome back to London. It is the morning after the All In before. It was a heck of a night in the shadow of the Wembley Arch where we saw new champions crowned in AEW. Unbelievable returns take place as well.
Yeah, it was just a night of craziness. Absolutely
It was
wild.
so much fun, and thank you so much if you popped by and had a chat and said hello. We're really grateful that you did so as well. And thank you as well to Adam and Fraser back at base for bringing live reactions and watching along with you as well. It was lovely to see so many of you here. But we obviously, with that came the press conference and came all the stuff that comes in the wake of a big show like this. And you were there. You were front and centre, Sam Driver at the presser. And I think Tony Khan might have thrown a little shot in the way of Phil Brooks, maybe.
He doesn't like being called that. Use the proper name.
Chancery Montgomery Punk.
That's the one. He was being asked about the changes to Collision. He said booking AEW Collision Saturday was a lot easier than last year. He didn't say Punk by name, but he just kind of, he did sort of allude to it. He was like, with all the stuff we had going on last year, it was like a couple of times throughout the night, and the room kind of giggled. The room kind of knew what was going on, but it's one of those where it's unavoidable, right? It's unavoidable. I mean, God, how can it? We had real glass being used on the.
I mean,
you say stuff.
You say it's unavoidable. They do actually lean into it in a couple of cases, obviously with that one, and then Jack Perry in the middle of that match bringing out a bag of real glass, and once the crowd knew that he was emptying real glass onto the canvas, there was like the stadium all got the joke at the same time and started chanting "Cry Me a River," but to the tune of Seven Nation Army. Why not just sing "Cry Me a River"? I just thought.
Because Seven Nation Army's better.
That is true. It is slightly better. But so, I think when we think about the all-out thing from 2022, when we think about All In from last year and the CM Punk fractious relationship with AEW, whilst obviously CM Punk is in a happier place not being there, I think elements of AEW, maybe Tony Khan, based on that comment, are happy that CM Punk's not there. At least that CM Punk's not there.
I don't think they're thinking about him, mate. Like, genuinely. It felt like, coming out of the presser, it felt like essentially, I don't know, it felt like a bit of they want to look at it a bit like a fresh slate, like an all-new AEW. It was quite a lot of like this idea of just starting fresh and everything kind of being tight. He was asked multiple times about stuff, but there was a lot of talk about like the build being received a lot more and like a lot more better than last year's build. And I think for whatever reason, they kind of alluded to it, they nodded and they leaned into it, obviously, like in the press conference, but it did feel like it was more just sort of, hey, fresh slate, like new start.
Yeah, you got that energy that this was the beginning of a new phase, turning a new page in the company with a lot of stuff that they did. No pages of a contract, apparently, for one Daniel Garcia. We saw him last night. Would you say he cost MJF the American Championship? Because there was quite a few elements after that shock reveal by Daniel Garcia before.
Just a little bit. If anything, he contributed to his loss.
Contributed to the loss is the way to do it. Daniel Garcia's involvement was what started leading to the end of a titanic and incredible showdown between MJF and Will Ospreay. They got massive entrances at the beginning. They just went for it.
Ospreay went full Assassin's Creed. It was all like
there was a very subtle Assassin's Creed reference.
Well, it was all. I
don't know whether he picked it up.
Ezio's voice actor. It was great.
It was. I like. It was the whole and MJF coming out with the big hat, the big American hat,
doing the Apollo Creed top.
The Apollo Creed.
And then his ring gear was
big hat.
His ring gear when he took everything off was like Lex Luger gear as well.
It was Lex Luger gear as well. It was so good. But when it comes to Daniel Garcia, that surprise appearance by Daniel Garcia, PW Insider have offered an update on his status with the company, haven't they?
They said that we are told Garcia is under contract through October and remains in discussions with the company. So right now it doesn't feel like there's anything long term there, but it's surely he's not going to pop back up without there being plans.
Well, there was a lot of speculation that he'd signed something, which was part of the reason why he was there. But maybe it's the case of if he's with the company till October and there's question marks about whether or not he's going to stay beyond October, maybe it's a case of let's get this thing with MJF signed off, finished up. Let's get it going, let's get it done. And then from there, if he ends up going somewhere else, which is what a lot of the speculation is, that he can do, knowing that story's been finished. And if he doesn't, then, well, he can sign something else and on to the next thing in AEW.
Well, this is it. I think as well they can do a lot by just feeding into that speculation. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation that X, Y, and Z is going to go X, Y, and Z every bloody week of wrestling.
Breaking news.
So I think the longer that you're able to leave things, the longer that it's able to be kept close to the chest before the press knows that a contract's been signed or anything, the more you can have these shocking moments, the more you can have people sort of seem like they're disappearing and they're maybe not being used by the company, and that means they're definitely going, and then like 2 months later they pop back up out of nowhere. Like that's sort of what wrestling's all about, right? That kind of, it's built on shock and surprise, and yeah.
And there was plenty of that in the Casino Gauntlet as well. Loads of shock and surprise appearances during that match. Zack Sabre Jr. Just the night before had competed at Rev Pro's anniversary show. Just come back from winning the G1. He's en route to becoming IWGP British World Heavyweight Champion from Britain, which is exciting. Jeff Jarrett and Hangman Page got into it in the match. Thank you, Tony Khan. I'll accept that as you being only half a coward for booking Jarrett versus Hangman Page at Wembley Stadium. But I have to say, my heart in that match belonged to Nigel McGuinness.
How could it not?
How could it not?
Like everybody on the press row was sort of like, because you can't really be going crazy on the press row. You can't be like doing mental stuff.
You sound like this if you do.
But basically, everybody was just immediately like, "What?" Just losing their mind. So it was
Meltzer
just
being sick over his keyboard.
I couldn't believe that I got to see that in person. I can't believe that the potential seems to be there. He was in incredible shape.
He looked fantastic.
It's like, surely there's more there.
Had him rolling back the years with Zack Sabre Jr. We had some great stuff with him and Okada so briefly. Like, as he's walking down the ring, Okada's sort of nodding, going, all right, come on then. So the question is now, is this McGuinness back in ring full time?
This is it, right? He was asked pretty directly, Tony Khan, at the press conference about it, and all he would say was, yes, Nigel McGuinness will continue to do commentary. And it's like, is he gonna come back and wrestle? Is there gonna be any chance for a? Yeah.
There was some question marks because he was like, well, Christian Cage did a number on him, and McGuinness has been really polite about Christian Cage in the past. And with a little line like that, you don't just drop that in for no reason.
There were a couple of allusions from people asking questions as well, like when Danielson was out. It's like, so is there anybody right now from tonight, Bryan Danielson? And it's just like, I don't really want to talk about future plans right now. I just want to worry about me and my family. And everybody's like, just give us Nigel Danielson, please.
Hey, Tony Khan, you cannot.
It'll not happen.
No, are you kidding me? Master of Manifestation? We'll kind of get there. So Nigel McGuinness, whilst it's not confirmed this is a full-time thing, I could see him becoming like a special attractions type of performer. Now he knows that he can physically get in there and go.
Yeah,
I think, really can go.
But he's also fantastic in his role in commentary. So I think it's one of those where, maybe not every week, but I want to see the real last of McGuinness. So come on.
We might have seen the last of Tony Storm. I didn't put this down, but I wanted to mention something that you said about Matt Menard in the press conference about what could be the very fate of Tony Storm. Oh,
yeah. So he said that after the match, she apparently went just wandering clean out of the back, clean out of the garage door, with Luther following, just trying to stop her. Just clean onto the streets of London in her gear, and cameras were trying to catch up to her. So if that is the case, it's going to be some very, very funny.
She could be still wandering into the night in London, and AEW will return to London. It was revealed during the show. Forbidden Door 2025. It will take place in August in London. No venue confirmed.
Yep.
And also on top of that as well, they have said that All In will return to London, to Wembley Stadium in 2026. It's Texas's turn next time. And then we'll have a fallow year. It's a bit like
Glasgow.
Like Glasgow. Yeah. It's a fallow year, so they can allow the grass to grow again. I think that's only fair. But Forbidden Door next summer, everybody from the great and the good of the wrestling world piling into the UK for another AEW wrestling show.
But this was touched on, people asking a lot of these questions. It was during the Will Ospreay segment. Ospreay himself brought up the idea that potentially AEW could do a UK tour. And that seemed to be received very well by everybody in the room, of course. Ospreay started listing off cities. He's just listing every city he could. And Tony Khan was just like, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. And he kept just saying, I think that's a great idea, and nodding and going, yeah, let's do that. So I think we might possibly be getting some sort of little tour or residence, or if it's Dynamite and we got a bit of a residence for a month, that'd be awesome. But if it's a little tour, I don't know what it could be.
We will find out as time goes on, but for now, we will rest, we will feast, and we will thank you for coming along and saying hi if you saw us on Wembley Way, and thank you for continuing support to what we do. It's been a phenomenal bank holiday weekend, and for the latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.